We hope everyone is safe and healthy. And today we're joined by our partner and collaborator in Miranda Kerr Home, Miranda Kerr, from her home. So
from my home in Malibu.
Just a little perspective for everybody. I think, Miranda, I think you've had 2 children since this entire process began. So what are you thinking about as we kind of get to this point? I mean, what does that mean for you? You know, priorities and needs in the home change a little bit.
Yeah, they totally do. But one thing that has remained consistent is that feeling of coming home and feeling like that is your space, and that is the space where you feel like you can recharge. That is the space where you feel completely at peace, and it's like plugging into the charger. You know what I mean? It's really that space where you can just like totally surrender and feel at ease. And that's why with every one of these pieces, I wanted to incorporate like that, like, you know, even just when you glance over at like the table, or if you're sitting in the chair, it just, you can feel that uplifting energy, that uplifting intention. That was my desire to create for this collection, so that you can really feel, that sense of love and joy and bliss.
Well, I think, and we'll certainly speak to this, but I think we could all use a little of that right now. So
I feel like everyone needs that, like,
right?
And these, every single, as you know, every single piece, I was so specific about the lines, the materials that we used, the color palette, the wood grain,
Yes.
the lack of finish, the soft gold detail, the geometric shapes, the soft fabrics, the size. I mean, the whole journey has been a lot of fun, and I really appreciate, obviously you and the Universal team have so much experience with this, and you know, you have obviously the manufacturing capabilities and the professionals, but I get to come in. It was just such an honor for me to come in and collaborate and put my essence, my touch, my love into these pieces that I really feel so proud of, because I feel like they are timeless. They work really well with what people already have in their homes. I know from myself, with my home, these pieces just work effortlessly. And other pieces that I had in here prior to this were completely different, but these pieces just feel like they've always been there. And that's what I want for people when they buy my pieces, that they will fit effortlessly into what they already have at home. And that's why I like the subtlety of the details, and there's an elegance to them that I really feel like these pieces you could keep for a long time. They're not pieces that are going to date. They're pieces that I feel will stand the test of time, and that was something that was important to me. But they're not necessarily what I would call traditional. They are modern in a way that they feel, but it's like, yeah, it's like a modern timelessness.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good way of describing it. And I know from our experience, obviously you've mentioned some of the design partnerships that you've had in other categories. You obviously, of course, have your own business that you founded in Core Organics. You know, I think that process of, you know, you're a bit of an entrepreneur in terms of the things that you get involved in. You're very specific, I'd say, in terms of those partnerships. And I think we quickly found out why. But I think that process, can you speak to, again, I'm sure you have the chance to get involved with a lot of things, but you don't. You really do kind of specifically indicate different kind of things that you want to personally be involved in. I think that's what so interesting and exciting about this process, and has remained so, you know, being able to do stuff like this today.
Yeah, well, it goes back to what my mother always said. If you're going to do something, do it properly, and like do it with your whole heart. And so even when it came to jobs and people that I would work with, even on that level, like for me, it had to resonate with me and be something that felt like, you know, a connection that would work really well. And as far as the design process goes, when, you know, when I first got involved in design, like, you know, with Royal Albert, it was such a natural connection, because I had grown up with my grandma having this prized possession of teacups in this beautiful console, and she would get them out for special occasions, and they were just her treasured. It was the most treasured kind of. They were the most treasured pieces in her home were her teacups, and so when Royal Albert, you know, asked me if I wanted to be involved in creating a tea set, you know, and tea set collection. And I was like, this is amazing. My grandma is going to be so proud. And it had a personal connection for me. When it came to designing the jewelry with Swarovski, I said, look, I want to do it if it's all about uplifting the person wearing the jewelry. So there were special meanings behind every little symbol. So there was like, for instance, there was like an evil eye, which was for protection. And then there was a little heart, which was to bring about love. And so everything has an intention. So everything and then for mother jeans, I was very specific with the way that the jeans were, and the cut and moving the pockets and the type of denim and wearing them and doing multiple fits. And design is just, and detail. I think it's really the detail that I'm really interested in, the details. And I feel like my eye, from being in the industry since I was 13, I've looked at every detail in a photo to see how can we make it better. And my eye was trained to look at the clothing, to look at the lines in the background, like the lines of the, you know, the background, to look at every little detail. I'll be like, oh, what about this or that? And, you know, and then, and I've worked with the most creative people in the industry, and experienced so much and so many different cultures as well around the world, living in Japan, living in Spain, living in Paris, living in New York, living in Malibu, coming from Australia, coming from a little tiny country town. And I really grew up with not much, but what I had growing up was this wonderful simplicity with my grandma, where it was almost like less is more. But she also always had this generosity of spirit and generosity of heart, and everyone was always welcome. And that is something that still stays with me today with my family. Just having that obviously the generosity of spirit and heart, but also the simplicity and like less is more. And I feel like that's translated a bit in these pieces as well for the collection.
I would agree. And I think you spoke, and we got some great questions that really tie into, I think, the product development process that we went through. And I think your eye for detail, I think, became quite aware to us in there's the meeting that we had where we started discussing, you know, different materials, and there was the discussion of the wood grain and how that was going to work, and you know, we kind of, you know, we're just kind of talking through it, and then you were like, wait a second, you know, you were very specific in terms of how the wood grain and which basically the flow of grain based on the pieces that you were looking at, and that they would work symmetrically or be, you know, have some symmetry associated with them depending on how you were looking at them. And it wasn't something that we had necessarily really thought of before, but you were, again, pretty persistent in wanting to have all that kind of come to life. And then I think, so that was a great, the back and forth on wood grain, I think was an education for both of us.
It definitely was.
But I think, you know, we started, you know, sending you line drawings, and then we started sending you materials. And I think it wasn't, a lot of people, I think that things like this are, you're sending this to this group of people and, you know, people are rubber stamping stuff, but that was not the case. I think you were literally making notes on
I mean, I was
each
drawing
little,
which way I want the wood grain to go. It needs to go like this, and it needs to create this geometric shape on the back of the chair, and then on the table, it needs to go like this and that and that. And I was literally drawing and then taking a photo, sending it to you guys. I'm like, this is the way it needs to be. The grain needs to be like this and like this.
So some of these questions that came in, these are good. The peony wardrobe, the really cool, intricate, almost the gold, soft gold hardware that we have on that. I think that the question is kind of what was the inspiration for that? Do you want to kind of touch on some of the hardware and maybe just some of.
So I'm very much into the flower of life geometry and the symbolism behind that. And so I had told that to you guys. And I'm also, and then you'll see different like geometric shapes throughout the collection as well, which is kind of symbolic of like the use of crystals, because I wanted to incorporate this uplifting energy behind all the pieces. So this, you know, with the handles being like that, kind of symbolizes a little bit of like the flower of life and kind of bringing the energy into that piece, because everything is energy in my opinion. And remember at one point I was like, I want to like hand write in or somehow have my engraving in every single piece of the collection and an uplifting message, and you're like, that might not work, but it's a great idea.
Right. That's part of the give and take.
Yeah, it's part of the give and take. So we had to you know, we had to make some compromises, but it's also obviously has to work for everyone. But I do still feel like every piece has like a piece of my heart, you know, in it, because of that was the intention behind it all. It was like, and I'd be like, no, we have to change the leg shape, or we have to change this, it needs to be, the dimension needs to be a little deeper, or, I mean, you know.
Yeah, no, I think scale, I think some of those details that we talked about with grain or finish or the hardware and some of the shapes and the inspiration for that. I think the other thing is this is the first collection that we brought out that had this soft gold finish, which was also kind of, I think I
pushed on that as well.
You did. And I think we were happy about, I think, being able to have something within that palette, you know, available, but it was one of those interesting back and forth. So to Lori, who asked the question, why did we decide on soft gold? It's because Miranda asked us to do it.
Oh yeah, so why did we decide on the soft gold is because I was very specific about the type of gold, and I didn't want it to be too brassy. I really wanted it to have that, like that soft feel, that feel of warmth, not cold. It's more of a warm feeling that you get from the soft gold as opposed to the coolness of like a brass.
And I think another question we just got was some of the upholstered beds. I think that kind of goes to that feeling as well, that warm sense of adding some textural elements as opposed to just something that's, you know, plain. There's something kind of going on there.
Yeah, I love texture and different fabrics. And we went through so many different fabrics.
We did.
And we also went through so many different types of gold. And I was like, please, Neil, is this really going to be the type of gold? Because I need it to be like, and you would show me different, and you're like, yes, this is it. And finally
I was equally as excited when we figured that. So, I think, yeah. And I think throughout, I think you'll find as you go deeper into the collection, for those that are asking some of the, you know, different kind of the shapes, I think there's some cool things that you guys have done, whether it be in some of the packaging for Cora, which I think you're obviously highly involved in, just in terms of whether it be physically.
I make all those decisions with Cora for like, I'm like, I want it to be this color, and I write all the copy on the back of the packaging. It needs to be, I'm like, in the contrast of this color and that color, I'm like, that's all, you know.
Yep. And that's yeah, and I think that's, so I think as people look at the collection, I think they begin to see different shapes of how we've done, like the mirror that's over your right shoulder.
Yeah.
that's in the back of the vanity. I think that's one of those things that kind of speaks, as well as kind of our mirrors that can be kind of standalone, or you can group them into, I'm going to get the name here so I don't forget.
The one behind me? The Lovejoy Bliss mirror?
No, they're asking about the ones that we can do in pairs or in groups. So it's the Kawaii accent mirror. So we've they have that kind of neat kind of crystal shape almost, I think, from a look standpoint. And I think we actually have them in one of your bedrooms there, which we'll give everybody a kind of a sneak peek on. But I think some of these shapes all came from this back and forth of having, again, you could, and that mirror is so cool because you can almost hang it any way you want. There's no wrong way to do it. And with some of these shapes, it was kind of, I think that was also kind of the intent.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. Like the mirror behind me, the Lovejoy Bliss mirror, it can go over a table. It can hang, you know, in the hallway or the bedroom. It's quite versatile.
Yeah.
The geometric shape is fun. It has the space between it there. I also think it would look good in a bathroom.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it has a lot of versatility in that regard. And that would be a good little work.
It's fun because you can have it singular or together, you know, with those geometric shapes as well, which is like another shape again.
You've kind of touched on this, but I think as people start receiving this and they start using it in projects, or they start setting up their stores, and then ultimately they get it to their home. But what is there kind of an overriding feeling that you want somebody to have when they finally get theirs? You know, what do you hope for?
When they get the piece or pieces in their own home?
Yeah.
I hope they feel that love that I really put into it, the thoughtfulness of every little detail, so that it creates that warmth, that comfort that we're all looking for in our lives right now. That sense of ease. I hope they feel uplifted when they look at the pieces. I hope they feel inspired when they look at the pieces. I'm inspired by my surroundings, and when I have a beautiful piece of furniture around, or it uplifts me, you know, in a funny kind of way. Just like when I look out at a beautiful tree, I feel uplifted by that, or, you know, the ocean, looking at the ocean is also uplifting. So yeah, I guess I'm inspired by my beautiful surroundings, and I'm lucky to have these pieces, you know, as part of that. And if anyone else had created them, I'd love them just as much. I'm not just being biased because I created them. Just like, you know, they say, when you say, like, you think that your children are well behaved because they're your children, but I actually would love to have these pieces in my home, regardless of if I made them or not. They're really wonderful pieces that make me feel really cozy.
Well, we're gonna take a sneak peek now at some of the pieces that you identified. I think one question that just came in, I think this is a great one from Jamie. She was asking, did your children kind of influence any decisions you made during the design process?
Well, we made sure with the sofa that the fabrics are the high performance fabrics, and that they're easily washable for any spills, and durable in that regard, because I do love to have that neutral palette and the whites. But luckily, if something spills on them, you just wipe it off and it doesn't sink in.
And your kids are 9, 1 and 6, 2.
9 months, 2
9
years
months.
old, and 9 years.
There you go. Okay. So, and you have pets, you have a dog. So I think, yeah. So I mean, you're living with these things. You're not necessarily, hey, you guys can't go over there. I think that was, I know, something that we talked about during that process. So,
yeah.
All right. I'm going to give everybody a little sneak peek, and hopefully if our internet connection is pretty good, this should work pretty well. And we'll be sharing a lot of this stuff as we proceed. So let me just go here. All right. And then I'm going to go and hit play. So we're going to play this, and then we'll talk about some of your favorite pieces. So let me let this roll.
Hi guys, welcome to my Malibu home. Come on in. I hope you enjoyed my new Miranda Kerr Home collection with Universal. See you next time. Bye.
So I hope everyone enjoyed. That's a little sneak peek. I think now we're just gonna, Miranda, kind of, you've identified some of your favorites here.
Yes.
And I'll let this play, and yeah, you just go ahead and kind of maybe give people a little perspective as to kind of, you know, why.
So this is the opaline bar cabinet, and it has the mother of pearl inlay with the white lacquer on the outside. Oh, we went too fast, but that's okay.
All right.
Should we go back to that?
Or I can just, yeah.
Bar cabinet? There we go. So what I love about it is that when you first look at it, you don't even know that it's a bar cabinet, but then you open it and you go inside and there's so much space for storage. It has those adjustable glass shelves. You have obviously the, you know, the wine glasses can be stored at the top. It's very chic. You've got the wine bottle storage. There's light fixtures on the inside as well. To me, it feels like a piece that you can have in your home without it being known that it's a bar cabinet. And as I said, with that mother of pearl inlay and then the soft gold finish, it just feels to me like a timeless piece that could go anywhere. I had a friend of mine say that her daughter, out of all the pieces, her daughter just wants this piece, but her daughter's like 10 years old. And so she's like, she doesn't want it for the bar side, but she wants to like store, you know, clothes and whatnot in there. And I was like, well, there's no reason you can't do that. I mean, you could use this piece in a bedroom if you like. You don't, it doesn't necessarily have to be a bar, even though it has the bar functionality if you desire to put it, you know, somewhere that you need to for a bar.
Well, I think there's a lot of functionality. I think this is a great piece, and I think in particular, obviously right now, you know, working from home has become somewhat the norm, but I think this piece offers a lot of different uses.
Yeah, so this is the Allure vanity desk and the little vanity chair and the Lovejoy Bliss mirror. So we spoke already about that Lovejoy Bliss mirror with the geometric shape and the cutouts that you can, you know, physically, it's got that air, that space behind it, and the versatility of that. And also with this desk, the vanity desk, I have it here as, I mean, I show you how you can use it as a desk, but I also have it here as a console at the entry of my home in Malibu because it fits really well there. You know, it's, but it's also at the same time, if you want to use it with the chair, you can, and it's a very chic desk and office space there. And this chair is the Lovejoy Bliss Vanity chair with the acrylic legs. And then the fabric on this chair, it's called champagne or bubbly champagne.
Yeah.
Because of that fabric. And I like that texture. And then you'll see the geometric shaped soft gold, what are they called? The
Hardware. Yeah.
Hardware. Yeah.
No, that's a great, and that looks great. It's amazing how all this stuff almost looks like it's been there forever. I think in some of the rooms.
And this opaline martini table, once again, you're seeing that geometric shape with the air coming through. I really like that because it can, like right here, I have it as a side table, but it can also be a great end table. It has that mother of pearl on the top. It, you know, as I said, you could, this is a great little nightstand in the guest house, but it can also be a good end table for like a little cocktail and whatnot, or a book. Oh, this is in Flynn's room. This is actually a really beautiful piece. It's called the Peony Nightstand. I basically wanted to have that space at the top and the drawer at the bottom, and it's got an acrylic candle there with the soft gold detail. It's 32 inches wide, I think. It's quite big, but it's a piece that feels like, to me, really timeless, and you can put storage like books and whatnot in there. I liked the air playing with that space, and the fact that it didn't look like every other, you know, piece, every other nightstand I see has the drawer at the top. I wanted to put the drawer at the bottom, and it's got the white lacquer finish, which I really like as well, and the little gold legs.
Yes, yeah, the leg detail actually on that is really pretty. These are the poofs that we've seen, I think, a few times now. These are great pieces that really can go almost anywhere.
They really can. They can go at the end of the bed. They can go next to the bathtub. For me, like when I'm bathing the kids, it's kind of good to have that. I love the little pop of color. Even though everything else is quite neutral, this is like a little bit of blush adding, you know, it's, yeah, you can go there. It can go in the living room or as an ottoman. Oh, what happened?
Sorry, my bad.
Oh, here we go again. Hello, welcome to my Malibu home.
Okay, so sorry about that.
Yes, so we've got the Geo end table here, which I love because I love the taupe lacquer, and I love mixing it with the white, and the whole story behind these shapes is just that I personally love like crystals. Like I have a crystal right here, and I'm inspired by those shapes. And since I was a little girl, my grandfather would bring home, because he would move houses, and literally move houses, like physically pick them up from the ground with the big the big, I don't know what they're called. Sounds like one of the babies just woke up. And then lift them, and underneath the house, he would find these big geode crystals, and he'd bring them home for my grandma. And my grandma was like, okay, kids, and we would play with them, and we put them underneath the big willow tree. And I found them always to be quite intriguing. I loved the shape. I loved all the different colors. And then it wasn't until I was about 13, I realized that different crystals have different meanings and can be used as a different, like the rose quartz is the stone of love and nurturing. So, yeah. So anyway, this piece was inspired by the shape of crystals.
And I love the finish on that. That taupe lacquer is really, it's striking, I think, when you combine it with everything else. This is the only wood bed in the collection, and this was actually a bed that was inspired by a piece that you had, which was kind of cool,
Oh
in
yeah.
Malibu.
Yes. So I had actually worked with an interior designer, and she had said, whatever you want to make, we can make for you if you want to design it. Like, she knew someone who would make furniture. And I was like, that's amazing. So I drew up a bed design, and it was kind of similar to this, and but it was a little different. And then he made it, and I was like, that's cool. And then when you guys were saying, what type of bed do you think? I was like, I would be so cool because I designed this other one previously. I'd like to do something that would be part of the Miranda Kerr Home collection. So this is the Malibu king bed. And if you can see, there are specific lines and the detail in, it's hard to tell, I guess, on the computer, but if you guys.
Yeah, they're all kind of going in different directions.
Yeah.
Like, and there was some specificity to that.
It was my specific drawings of the way that I wanted them to overlap, just to create that different texture. And in the background, it's actually, I have the fabric, as opposed to having like paper or, you know, just paint on my wall. I have fabric on my wall. So I like the different dimensions of having like a fabric wall with the wooden bed, and then the pillows, and then, you know, you can see the bedside table there with the mother of pearl inlay. It's and the beautiful gold, soft gold detail at the bottom.
This is a stunning piece. I think the runway console.
Yeah, the runway console, that's that taupe lacquer, high shine. It has the touch release adjustable shelves, and I just love the shape. So if you look at this piece on the side, you get to see like it's going in and out, just like the other geometric shapes. So it has that kind of 3D effect, which I really love. And it's a great place for storage, whether you want to store books or games. We have a lot of games in ours, so it's a really good piece that I think it can be used here as like a runway console, but I also think it's great. You could use it in like you could store dishes and plates and cutlery and whatnot if you have like a fine dining room, and you could serve things on top of this. I think this is a versatile piece. Like, it's not just to go at the entry of the home. It's a great piece that could go in a lot of different places. Like even in the TV room, you could have it.
Yeah, it does have wire technology, if you will. If you want to hide, you know, you can hide all your cords and all that stuff. So
yeah.
And I think we're getting close here. Let's see. All right,
That's also in Glenn's room. That's the Brentwood dresser with the acrylic candles. I feel like, yeah.
This mixes the wood grain with the lacquer, which I think is another big conversation that we had.
I was very specific about mixing the wood grain with the white lacquer in one piece, not like having separate pieces, but having one piece that has the wood grain and then the white lacquer, so that the pieces pop, like the wood grain pops.
Yeah.
You can't necessarily see it here, but when you see it in person, it just has an element of sophistication about it that feels more elevated than the price point, I think.
Well said. And then this is one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's in a very small space here. That's in our little breakfast nook, but that's the Lovejoy Bliss round dining table. And it has that soft gold detail and the geometric shape that, what I love about it, because of the glass and the air underneath with the gold detail, it can be in a small room and it's functional. You can fit, you know, I think you could, I've got 4 chairs around there, but I think you could almost fit 6.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But so it's quite, it can hold a lot, but it doesn't overtake a room because of all the air and the space that it creates. And it feels to me like a piece that, I mean, it's truly one of my favorite pieces. So I just feel like, and then paired with the oval chairs there, I love the fabric on the chairs and the white lacquer detail. It brings that element of relaxed sophistication.
Yes, agreed. Yeah, I think it's one of those things that it can be, you can kind of go a lot of different ways in terms of how you use it.
And fabric on those chairs is a diamond pearl fabric. It's like a velvety fabric, which is great.
A couple of things just to give, I think, again, Miranda's made some really cool choices for her home. In terms of what we've been working with Miranda on, obviously, in terms of supporting kind of the rollout of the collection, there'll be a lot of social media components in terms of what we're doing with her and her channels, as well as some partners that we have in the media space where we've gotten some really already great attention, and then some more to come. So we're excited about that. And then working on a big feature with Domino Magazine for the fall, where we'll have that component of print, digital, email, and then also running a couple different contests. So I think we're excited about all of these things kind of working together to create engagement. I think, one of the things for us really has been this idea of, using these channels, particularly social media, I think in particular, of, getting a new audience to engage with some products that they may not be aware of, in terms of, like you said, it's a level of sophistication and elegance, but it's also quite affordable. And it's a way of kind of upgrading some certain things in your home as you create your home.
In a timeless way. And as I said, the pieces like mix and match and are interchangeable and versatile in multiple different rooms.
Absolutely. Yeah. It doesn't, right. There's not, it really does offer you a lot of flexibility in terms of where things can go. What I want to, I think, as we'd all agree, it's been quite an interesting year, to say the least. I'd like to know, from your perspective, obviously, I think we've all spent more time at home, more than ever before, obviously. Can you talk a little bit about, has your relationship with home changed? I think that, I think as you've said recently, home is probably more important than ever right now in everybody's lives with everything kind of going on. And, why do you think it's kind of important to create that kind of calming space? And what role do you think that plays in people's lives, really?
Yeah, I think it's a challenging time for so many. So many people are not used to being at home and working from home so much, if they have the luxury to be able to do that. And obviously my heart goes out to all those that are on the front lines and that are working tirelessly to provide us all with the essential services. But for those who are doing their part by staying home to help flatten the curve, especially with everything going on now and the numbers increasing in certain spots around America and around the world, I think that if you can create that tranquility and that nurturing space at home, you feel more at ease, you feel more inspired at home, and it just takes a little bit that can go a long way. So if you have, like, I know how happy it makes me just to have, a comfy sofa or a nice side table or a nice end table. It makes me feel more inspired, or to have a nice desk to work from, because I am working from home and so is my husband. And when you have that and you can spend time on tidying your home, and I actually, I think it was last week, I had Marie Kondo on for Wellness Wednesday, and she was talking about the art of tidying, and it's just something that people are really interested in right now. Out of all my Wellness Wednesday sessions, because I have sessions on fitness, like yoga or workout or skincare, health, cooking, And I decided, like, I personally wanted to have Marie Kondo on. So I reached out to her and I was like, would you do this? Because you're amazing. And I'm obsessed with all of your tips and tricks. And I'd love to share that firsthand and have a conversation with you for our viewers. And she was like, fabulous. I'd love it. And she's all about creating that space of ease and comfort at home. And I think that these pieces create that and can help people create that, and help them organize their life and feel more inspired and feel more at ease and comforted. And I'm just so thrilled that we have products that are available to help people feel that way.
Yeah.
And that makes me feel really good that I'm able to, because of my contribution, help someone in that way.
I think that's well said. I think, yeah, it's definitely, I think, especially the more time you spend at home, I think the more you are looking for ways to inspire or create a change in the home space that can act as a sanctuary or become more functional or allow you to do a lot of different things, maybe in a smaller space. So I think all of that is right on. So, well, I think we appreciate you taking the time to spend with us this afternoon or this evening, depending on where you are. And we've enjoyed kind of getting a sneak peek into the home. I know we're really excited that we're finally kind of here. You mentioned Wellness Wednesday, and for those that are hanging on, it's, if you follow Miranda, which I highly suggest you do on social media, it's a great chat that she has every Wednesday on a number of different topics. And there's some fun things that get mentioned. And I think the last guest was great. So that was today. Was it today?
Marie last week. Last Wednesday. Today was yoga with Tracy. Yeah.
So we appreciate, take a look at that. And we'll have a lot more things on our end working with Miranda and her team just to support you all as you onboard products. And we're excited to kind of share them with the world and get people involved.
Excited. We have so much from a PR perspective that we've shot here at my home. We have videos, we have photos, we have little teasers. We have, as you were saying, like pieces coming out in specific magazines. I'm just fully invested in getting these products out there. And the only thing I think that we're going to find is that people actually want these products, like, internationally. I've had people like sending me emails and DMing me going like, how do I get this in Australia? How do I get this in Japan? How do I get this in Paris? When is your line coming out? When can I get the pieces? So I think everyone's really excited. And like from where I stand, like people are just like, just let me know where to buy it and how I can do it, because I want to buy it now or yesterday.
Well, that's what we want to do to support everybody listening. And I know Jeff is listening, so he'll take that one, that last comment to heart. So,
hi, Jeff.
Well, thank you again for spending some time with us. Thanks everybody for spending time and listening and learning. And again, I think I'm excited that we've been able to kind of get here, and we're excited to move this process along. So, and we're also
get it out into the world. And thank you to everyone for your support in making it available for people. I really appreciate it.
Well, and we really appreciate, I think, the level of investment that you have in this project. So thank you for that.
Like I said, you got to be all in or not in. So I'm all in wholeheartedly. So,
well, thank you for that, and have a great rest of the day. And everybody, thank you for your time.